We're taking a seller who's been stuck at the same revenue for years and seeing if our experts can find the game-changing opportunities.
Do you have a brand story?
I don't know what a brand story is.
Non-subscriber is $49. A subscriber spends $300 on average.
I looked at the storefront. It's not optimized in it.
I didn't even know I had a storefront. The banking industry's been an issue. I actually lost an account.
We're going to challenge our mentors to turn around this plateaued business.
If you do advertising, the brand dies, right?
But that 2% conversion rate is going to result for you $15,000 to $20,000 for the next 12 months.
If we can double your traffic, your sales will be doubled.
The goal here is to minimum 2x your sales to bring you to $250,000.
But if I'm honest with you, we want to reach this 2, 3, 4, 10x, right?
I have a surprise for you. We are going to give you the results. Might surprise you. Welcome to Scale Stories by Helium 10. Now I'd like to officially welcome David from InMotion Hemp. Tell us your scale story.
After I got done in the utility business, I retired. I did some consulting. I thought that's what I was going to do. I was working with my brother one day. I had a sore shoulder. He said, here, try this. I tried it. It worked. He said, well, just so happens I know some people that are kicking this company off. So I eventually invested. Over time, I got more and more involved with running it. And when I had this product and I gave it to my friends, they said, is it supposed to work that fast? I mean, and it just made people feel better. So I don't just put these chemicals together and put them in a tube. Eventually, somebody's going to be using that. Somebody's mother, somebody's grandmother, somebody's going to be working out. We don't just sell a product. The product enhances everybody's life.
First thing that I like is that, David kind of breaks the stereotype about e-commerce, first of all. You think, oh, people in e-commerce, you got to be fresh out of college, and those are the ones who go into e-commerce. I think David went to college a couple years ago, at least, but it shows that it doesn't matter what age you are. He had a full career, and he retired, and then he started e-commerce. Can you tell us a little bit more about the product?
I was excited about the roll-on. I play golf, and I have friends that do other sports. So the thing about the roll-on is you can take it out of your golf bag, rub it on your elbow. There's a massaging effect.
Where is it manufactured?
We make it here in California.
So the last few years, what's been your average revenue?
We sell about $140,000 a year.
So what have been some of the challenges you've faced, maybe some of the things that you'd like the mentors to help you with?
It's a hemp-based product, so that creates some issues with advertising. It's made with hemp seed oil, completely legal. We were trying to get on Walmart with a hemp-based product, so they were concerned about it. The banking industry's been an issue for us. One time, we actually lost an account because they found out it was a hemp-based product. It's the only product that we've got. We've talked about possibly, is there something else we can do?
So it definitely sounds like a complex business, but what I see is a lot of upside, especially since all of your sales are just on one platform and you've been kind of limited because of the hemp-based product.
Before we take a look at your listing, David, can you tell us a little bit more about your target audience, like who exactly is buying this product?
The general audience is people that have minor aches and pains, right? And now I'm one of the target audiences. As you get older, you're going to have those aches and pains.
I think David has an advantage. He said that he was basically the target market of his own product, and that's key because he's already passionate about something. He can empathize with the customer.
Perfect. Let's scroll down and take a look at your listing, maybe A+ content. Yeah, looks like we're talking about your target audience in the A+ content. Do you have a brand story?
I don't know what a brand story is.
So brand story is a new feature by Amazon. You can talk about your brand, who you are, when did you start. It kind of gives a personal touch, to the people who are buying.
I think what I do when I'm out with my friends and golfers and we're playing and they ask about the product and I give it to them is they start asking me about it. What's the story, and that seems to be the brand story. And if I can put that on Amazon, I think that's got to be good for me.
And really good thing about brand story is, it can unlock premium A+ content for you. That is something we're going to talk about.
Jason, your first comments on his listing.
When we're looking at your listing is in the market that you're on, you're trying to acquire a customer who's going to repeatedly build a relationship with your brand, who's going to generate reoccurring repeat purchases. What jumps off me is your subscribe and save value at $31.47 is basically the same price. There's no incentive to repeat purchase on subscribe and save. Another thing I noticed was that you have multiple pack sizes and listings, and you don't have them variated together.
When you said variated together, what does that mean?
So we take the single item of your roller ball plus your 2-pack plus your 3-pack, and we would put them all on the same product page. As consumers are interacting with your single roller ball, a couple things we see on it is increased conversion on the single. We're hoping they're also going to increase subscribe and saves on the multi-pack sizes. So it's also going to increase your average AOV, your LTV, and you're going to get that daily order volume. So you're no longer going to have to be marketing to them. So there's a trade-off. You're giving them a savings so that you don't have to keep re-engaging with them and spending money to court them to come back.
Thank you, Jason, for that. Vincenzo, what about you?
So I had a couple of questions. You mentioned, you struggle to advertise, and I'm very keen on that because I know the day on Amazon, if you do advertising, it's very difficult to really scale a brand. Like you don't get traffic, essentially, the brand dies, right? So tell me more about what has been the strategy in terms of advertising.
Pretty standard, so it hasn't gotten very sophisticated, I don't think.
Yeah, because for this type of products, like advertising that has to do, for example, retargeting will be key. It is a type of product that you will be using on a recurring basis. So I will be keen to have a look at what you're doing in terms of re-engaging with the client. Like, for example, Jason was mentioning subscribe and save. Like, that's, of course, one of the main sources of scaling your revenue by having that recurring revenue coming in on the business. But if you don't do any kind of retargeting, it's going to be very tough if you only rely, for example, on sponsored product kind of campaign. And you keep mentioning something that I'm very keen to go deeper into, which is golf. I will be keen to have a look at if you're actually also targeting that kind of audience. People that play golf, people that do sports. Like, go deeper into a niche, right, and stay on top surface only with things that have to do with pens. So when it comes to advertising, of course, most of the focus has to be on Amazon, but I'm curious to also know what you're doing outside of Amazon. Like, are you doing something with, for example, TikTok? Like, what has been your journey so far with the market?
Well, I do a little bit on eBay, which is not too much.
Yeah.
I have my own website, and still the issue is how do you drive people to your site?
Yeah.
And just yesterday, I got over the final hurdle to get on to TikTok.
Congrats.
And they sent me a note saying, you're on, now go ahead.
Of course, Amazon is the main source of revenue for him, but we need to be mindful that there's other marketplaces out there, especially when it comes to generating new traffic to the brand. And one of the marketplaces that came to me straight away was TikTok. This is the type of product that people want to see the before and after. They want to see an example of somebody struggling with a pain, or maybe going to golf, not being able to have a proper swing, and then using the product and being, the best player in cards. So these kind of things is something that people have to perceive through video to make a decision.
I think what we're definitely going to do with Helium 10, we're going to connect your Amazon account to your TikTok shop account. And within less than 2 minutes, you're going to have all of your products from Amazon on TikTok shop. So what Helium 10 does is it connects your Amazon inventory with your TikTok shop orders via multi-channel fulfillment. So what happens basically is you get an order on TikTok shop, goes through Helium 10, we push it to Amazon. Amazon ships that TikTok shop order and delivers it. You don't have to lift a finger. Now, going back to your products, we got a hemp-based pain cream, hemp-based roll-on pain cream. I imagine these are probably in a similar category. Have you ever thought about expanding with this brand outside of like the pain cream category?
We've got some formulas already that we've thought about, but yeah, we'd love to do that. That's another way of expanding sales, right?
So as we can see here, the brand name is InMotion Hemp. So I guess that's something that limits, like if you wanted to go outside of hemp to be able to start applying more to Walmart or to other countries, some of these challenges you've had with the hemp brand, you'd have to pretty much start a brand new brand that doesn't have hemp in the word or even in the products. Are you open to something like that?
We've thought about different things that we could do. We'd want to make sure we were doing something that had some potential. There was a place in the marketplace for it.
So whether we're talking a new hemp-based product or non-hemp-based product, have you thought by yourself about any of the potential lines that you can start?
Yeah, we've thought about it. The founder is a doctor, and he's talked about, toe fungus or things to do with your heels, and my daughter has trouble with menstrual cramps and things like that. So anything in this over-the-counter product line would be fine.
Can we find a new product, hopefully non-hemp based, that will solve some of his challenges about going to the different marketplaces? Are you guys up for this challenge here?
Oh, definitely.
Excited, yeah.
All right.
Something I think we didn't go in depth was regarding your manufacturing capabilities. Tell me more about that if you can.
Yeah, I work with a company out of San Clemente. They've been my most important partner. They do a lot of other products. A good company to work with. They'd be excited for me to show up and say, hey, let's let's start something new.
So I would assume that you, for this new product line that hopefully they're going to find for you, you'd prefer that it's something that this manufacturer can do.
Any topical creams, lotions, they do perfumes, they do all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I think you guys are excited, itching to go now that you have a lot more information from David. So let's work on the audit, final tweaks to that. But the fun part is now we get to find a new product for David. You guys ready to do this?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, how's it going?
Good.
I know you guys have only a little bit of time left and you're trying to complete everything, so I'll get out of your hair. Let's go ahead and break this huddle here with a 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, break. All right, you ready to hear what the mentors cooked up for you?
I'm ready.
There was something that they said while I went in there and checked on them. You guys want to say what you're confident that we can do for InMotion and David's business after, if he implements everything?
Yeah, we'll say as a minimum like 2x, but we're really aiming much more than that. So I'm super excited. I really think we can do
You're super
significant impact. Yeah.
Go up to $250,000 per year at least.
And excited is a little bit of an understatement.
I love it. I love it. All right, we want to get into these audits now. Let's start with Jason. Jason, what were you focused on?
So I really focused on like how can we like move you towards this 2x and really focusing on what's working. And right now what's really working is your roll-on hemp product. I first took a deep dive into it using Product Opportunity Explorer in Amazon Seller Central and combining it with some data information out of Helium Cerebro to kind of give us like top level glance view. And if you're not familiar with Product Opportunity Explorer, it's the way Amazon categorizes and groups product sales together by products and keywords and trends. And there was two main product niches in which the roll-on fell into. It fell into a CBD roll-on and a hemp roll-on. In both of these, what we could see is that you had a 9% actually market click share of all volume on the CBD and a 7% click share on hemp, which is really good news. You're experiencing growth. And you only have, so between the two, you have an average of like 8% click share. There's huge market potential for growth. And when we combine it with data from Cerebro, we can take a look at your organic ranking, and we can take a look at your paid advertising ranking on it. And what we can see is that on some, you have really great first and second organic ranking placements. A lot of these being on non-branded keywords related to with hemp roll-on or CBD roll-on. Where you don't rank really well is on competitive non-branded keywords, what you fall short on, which is not bad. So we're also gonna wanna take a look on the advertising strategy like sponsored display placements on their product page. Further, we know that these two roll-ons are sub-niches within the greater niche of pain relief roll-on. That total volume is about $120 million per year. So there's a really big market out there that we can take this one product because its core functional benefit is pain relief. And as we're building up these two niches, we're gonna build in some more organic relevancy on those two niches, more organic relevancy on the overall pain relief roll-on niche, and we're gonna build some long-term value through customer acquisition. The next thing I did was I went through Product Opportunity Explorer with some information from Helium 10 and aggregated what their review analysis was. We can generate from that overall customer sentiment. What are customers interested in? What are they trying to solve? What are they wants and desires? And
So this is all the feedback we're getting. And
it's all the aggregated
review.
Yeah, so we took it. It's from an aggregated feedback on the overall product niches and feedback from your products. And so they also want easy, messy-free application, which is probably why the roll-on works so well. People want something that's not gonna have any mess to it. And in the written communication of high value at the right price. So they need to understand for the money they're spending, they're gonna get the value. And usually that's a aggregation of like the effective fast relief, the easy, messy, free. Overall, they're looking for a mild, pleasant smell, specifically highlighting two ingredients, menthol and lavender, which your product has both of these things. I've come up with new bullet titles and bullet points based on all this information, including the keywords that you're really wanting to index and rank on. The listing is the engine. Everything's is going to connect into it. Organic search, Cosmos, Rufus now as it's evolving. We're also gonna have ads that are gonna be pulling into it and from auto and broad campaigns that are gonna be trying to test these things out. You know, lastly is you had nothing about your company InMotion. If all else the consumer remembers, because they're searching through many pages, is all they remember is I liked the product with InMotion. They can come back and easily find you.
And that ties more into the brand we're trying to build,
Yes.
right? Okay. All right.
Making sure that they remember the brand, they remember you. And the last two things I'll leave with you, also on the product listing, is there's no virtual bundles. On your product page, Amazon provides you with an extra free advertising spot where you can virtually take two of your items and you can create a listing out of them. And it will merchandise that image associated with it on the product page. So it's a great way to allow us to combine both lotion and the roller ball into a virtual bundle, and it allows it to display it to educate the consumer that there's also this lotion, and vice versa. We can do these because we have multi-pack sizes, and then as hopefully we're going to be launching some new products, as we launch them, we can also create virtual bundles, and we can create a cross promotion on those as well to help
So when
kickstart.
someone goes to the cream, they can also be aware of the roll-on and any new products.
Yes.
And it pushes down, like there's a section you'll see, you got your competitors advertising on your page. And it's right under like your buy box kind of a little bit.
It's just a wonderful free tool that I highly recommend to use. And the last is going back to something I talked about earlier, subscribe and save. Did a little digging, and I also used some Helium 10 data. Just to let you know, your average customer spend on your products from a non-subscriber is $49 during their lifetime. A subscriber spends $300 on average. So this is why subscriptions are so important.
Just on my product, the $300.
Just on your product. We want to see at least 30 to 35% of their daily order value coming in from subscribe and save.
Kidding.
It's a powerful way to build a business on Amazon, and the only way to do it successfully long-term is to build customer retention, and the easiest way to build customer retention is to get them on subscribe and save. To do that, recommending two things. So you can either do 5% or 10%. We have to dig a little bit more into your P&L. Bare minimum, do the 5%. It's going to give a lower price, so there's a hook on that. And then to double the hook, you want to do a subscribe and save first-time coupon. So the only time that a customer can use this is the first time they're going to subscribe to that product.
This is great. And then you have full title, bullet points, back-end description all ready for him to implement in his listing.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how the conversion improves on those and long-term organic ranking, because I think we're going to really hit customer sentiment extremely well.
What do you think about what Jason said?
I think that sounds good. So that's 100%, and then 200, and then 300.
There we go. There we go. All right, he knows how it works. Vincenzo, the 200%. What were you working on?
What I started doing is going in depth in terms of seeing what kind of advertising you're currently running, in terms of type of campaigns. What are you missing? What are some of the mistakes? And what are the opportunities that you have to implement right now if you want to reach this 2, 3, 4, 10x, right? I will start with something that has to do first with the retargeting. Your product is a typical product that if you're a person that suffers from pain, right? Or let's say, for example, yourself, you go to golf and you do this on a regular basis, this is something that you're constantly going to be using. Therefore, it's going to be super important for you as a brand to maintain that loyalty. For example, in the coffee space, right? Like every single time you go and buy again another potential coffee for you, you're gonna potentially try other brands. The same happens with things that have to do with pain. Maybe you wanna try other brands, you wanna explore other solutions, but if you actually counterattack that with retargeting, you make sure that the loyalty stays and people keep buying that.
I would have said I don't know that it's going to make that much difference, but it doesn't take many of those big jumps to make a big difference. And you develop loyal customers. I mean, you'll know who your loyal customers are. And like they talked about afterwards, there's ways to market to those people because they're committed to you. And so you should be committed to them.
I would say that's the first action that we have to take is start implementing sponsor display kind of campaigns on your account by retargeting. The second thing is that in running campaigns within sponsor display that have to do with interest as well, right? I saw that's also something that is lacking. Most of your strategy has to do with keywords, which again, of course, that's where most of the money is going to come from with sponsored products. But you keep mentioning throughout the whole conversation how, for example, you were so attached with the product because of how that added an extra kind of solution to your whole golf lifestyle, right? And there are so many other scenarios, all different sports, other conditions. And when I start going deeper into sponsor display, I found that there's so many different audiences that have to do with lifestyle. And that's something that we can also leverage because by doing that, we effectively try to find a loophole within your PPC campaigns where while all your competitors are focusing on sponsored product, which is the case, you go and focus on audiences, and potentially we could find a cheaper way to run advertising and a more tailored way of running advertising, right? Because we see that that's where Amazon is heading. It's all about audiences, it's all about how people behave on the platform, and we want to make sure we do that with advertising as well.
Before you launch advertising campaigns in Helium Tenaz, there's a couple of things you need to do first. First, you have to do the research of who you're going to target, what products you're going to target, what keywords you're going to target. You can do that inside of Helium 10. Another thing you need to know outside of Helium 10 is you got to understand your customer. Who are your customer? What are their demographics? That's going to really help you when you start advertising.
Now, moving within the strategy, another thing that I also found is that we're not really leveraging our own sponsor brands as well. And that's something that for a product of your nature is a big mistake, because at the end of the day, your product is something that people really need to connect in terms of what is the before and after, how this is gonna make me feel better, why your product is the best out there. And by doing things such as video campaigns within sponsor brands, you can convey the message so much better. We can have an in-depth analysis of your whole niche, your competitors. Why are people complaining in the reviews in terms of why they don't like certain products, why they're returning that? For example, within Helium 10, we can have a look at all the data, and even within Amazon. And by understanding all the pain points, we can make sure those pain points are answered on those videos, and then target our top 3 to 5 keywords that we know historically are the ones bringing you the most amount of money and the best conversion. Why is that? Because first of all, we sponsor brand video campaigns. We're gonna open an extra avenue for user traffic to your listing, which is the whole point of this strategy. But second of all, by doing so, we actually also get more real estate on all our different results pages. Like, I saw that a lot of your competitors focus a lot on sponsored products, and not a lot of people doing video campaigns as they should. So by you doing that, not only you get an extra opportunity to get more traffic, but you also consolidate your brand awareness, which is very important.
If he's budget conscious for making, because he's never had videos before for this advertising, how would him or other sellers go about that?
Yeah, so I think the beauty of today's age is like now with AI, it's very simple to come up with videos. Of course, it's never gonna be the same as high-end production, but if I'm honest with you, especially from expertise, the best videos in terms of performance within Amazon are the ones that look the most kind of informal, like the more like on the go, right? Because people relate more to that than like TV production level kind of commercial. In terms of budget, going back to you, Barley, like we're talking like with a few $100s, you can get very nice videos, you can have a lot of variations, and you can do a lot of split testing to then figure out which is the best video. But the most important thing before you go down the route of creating videos is going back to what I did throughout this whole audit, which is identifying what is your avatar in terms of what you're targeting, what your competition is doing, what are they lacking in terms of execution, and use that in terms of how you're gonna make sure you personalize those videos to exploit a loophole that your competition isn't.
So we understand your issue, and here's how we're gonna fix it.
And that's why we're different, that's why we should trust us. And that brings me to my last point, which is making sure that things such as your click share and your impression share improve. Because these two metrics are the one that are gonna allow us to understand the before and after, like how is your current market share control, where it's gonna get to, and that at the same time are some of the main indicators that Amazon will use to rank you organically, which, as we know right now, we're currently lacking. So I know for a fact that if we implement, we're gonna be achieving that 2x or more the MFO.
All right, so I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but Kamal actually got a head start on this a couple months ago, where we had said, hey, can you maybe take a look at the images from David and his A+ content? He didn't even have A+ content before. And so like, hey, let's do a phase 1, just a test, just to see like, does that actually have an impact on the bottom line? And I was very surprised.
When your potential buyers first click on your listing, the first thing that they do is click on the reviews button. And it takes them all the way down to the review section. And after reading those reviews, when they scroll up, the first thing that they see is the A+ content.
Well, what was your team looking at in order to improve?
Okay, so the first thing we looked at was the unique formula, that David had. So there was like very little, mention and focus about the unique formula. We took a look at how exactly that formula is working. Like, it penetrates into the surface level of the skin, and then it gives you pain relief on the deeper tissues as well. What we did, we created a graphic showing different layers of the skin and how that formula is working. So that was one very, very powerful way, because that was missing in the previous images. And the second thing that I noticed was, we were not hitting on the pain points with the product.
Yeah.
For example, it's a non-greasy, it's a mess-free, right? So it's an easy to apply. So those kind of things were missing in the images before. And lastly, the drug facts, the directions on how to use that product. What are the use cases of that product? We put that as a secondary image with the drug facts image. In the previous image tag, the messaging was missing, but with the help of those graphics, I think the formula, the benefit, you were able to understand, like in less than 2 seconds, how this formula is going to be effective, on the skin.
You literally showed pain points, like you were like showing somebody bending over or something, and then the pain point was the back. And so like anybody who's had that problem, they're instantly like connecting with that image.
Yeah, it was done in red, and you could just see the pain. Yeah.
You can see the literal pain point on their body. And so anybody who's had that, which, back and knees, like almost everybody, they could really connect with that.
Okay, so 1 month before, the page views were like almost 3,700.
3,700.
And the units sold were like 497.
Okay.
And the conversion rate was 13%.
Okay. Now, the month after you uploaded the images, let me start with the conversion rate. What was the conversion rate? What did you say the previous one was? 13 what?
13%, and after 30 days, it went up to 15%.
Okay, now hold on a second. You might think 13 to 15%, big whoop-de-doo, 2%. We're wanting to, 2x. But that 2% conversion rate, what was the sales?
Sales went from 497 units to 548 units.
That's like a 50 increase, a 10% increase. So price point is what, about $30? So $1,500 a month times 12.
18,000.
A 2% increase in conversion is going to result for you, this just small test we did, $15,000 to $20,000 for you for the next 12 months. How does that sound?
Sounds good. I do have one question. Page views after.
Page views after went down from 3,700 to 3,661. And the reason why the page views can go down after changing the main image, because the purpose of the main image is to increase the relevant clicks and decrease the irrelevant clicks. So when your irrelevant clicks go down, so the only interested people come to your listing, and they're very likely to buy that.
He just came to me and said, you spent a little bit of money, not much, and you got 2%, I'd go, well, it's hard to understand what that means. But I do understand when it's a whole bunch more products sold. I understand.
The next step, that was for phase one, just a test, kind of like proof of concept. Can you make a difference? What's the next step for what you're going to bring to David?
I like that we're approaching this in different phases, because listing optimization, it's not a task. I like to call it a ritual. So you keep doing it over and over again. So your CTR, CBR keeps going up. So first thing that I would like to focus on your listing, David, is the CTR, the click-through rate. So when people search for a keyword and then they see maybe, let's say 100 people saw your listing and only 5 people clicked on that. So your click-through rate is, 5%.
Right.
So, and that's one of the biggest levers in your business, because if we can double your traffic, your sales will be doubled. If you can triple your traffic, your sales will be tripled. It's as easy as that. So how can we do that? So there's like multiple factors which are responsible for click-through rate. When they see it in the search, what they see your main image, they see your product title, they see reviews, your price, fulfillment method, maybe if there's any bestseller or Amazon Choice badge. But there's only one thing that we can control, and it has the highest leverage. It's your main image. And most sellers, what they do, they kind of set it and forget it. So what we want to do is we want to keep testing the main image, because if I look at your main image right now, we have this exact same information on the product, and the same information is on the box. So that's a prime real estate. So what we can do, we can test different callouts. For example, your product is made in the USA. Maybe we can add a USA flag. We can embed that into your product packaging, say made in USA. That could be our option number 1. Option number 2 could be, it's doctor recommended. Maybe we can call out important ingredient in your product. We can talk about the formula, right? So there's like different things we can test. And the CTR will also be game changer for your advertising. If your click-through rate is better, you're gonna get cheaper clicks, right? Your A9 algorithm is gonna support your ranking, because people find your image relevant. So that's gonna be one of the focus points. Test 4 to 6 different main image variations. We can test it on Helium. Then audience tool first, and then you can also do it on Manage Your Experiment on Seller Central. So these are the two options, and I think if you run one experiment every single month, even if you get 1% improvement within 6 months, it's going to have the snowball effect. The sales will be like so much higher.
He was mentioning Audience. It's a feature that we have where we poll actual Amazon customers, and we can even pick the demographic. Like you already said, your demographic is like maybe above 50, certain. So we can like target them and say, hey, if you had searched for pain cream on Amazon and you saw these 3 main images, which would make you want to click on it more? And then that's how we can leverage this, conversion rate in order to increase how many people are visiting your listing, but who are relevant to your listing, which is what he said. Is this something just a one-time we do this? Is it a monthly? Is it a yearly? What do you suggest usually?
I personally like to keep the experiments running all the time. For example, month number 1, you test your main image, right? And you get a lot of feedback. Maybe month number 2, you can do the main image again, or you can move to your secondary images. You can do split testing on your secondary images. Maybe then you go to A+ content, and then you go to video. You can go to bullet points, your title. By the time it's like 6 months or 7 months, and then your main image is already old, and you can go back. So this process should never stop.
All right, so that's, we talk about the main images. Now, I remember you saying, hey, I want to redo the A+ content, and the main reason is because it wasn't even the type of A+ content that you think he should have. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So right now, he's missing brand story on his listing. Brand story helps in multiple ways. Number 1, it can help you in increasing conversions on Amazon. Number 2, it also increases trust among the potential buyers who are looking at your listing. They feel more deeper connection, like who exactly the seller is. And lastly, it increases your branding on Amazon. We can duplicate your A+ content 5 times. So first, have brand story on all ASINs, then duplicate your A+ content like 5 different times. After 1 to 2 weeks, you're gonna see a third feature when you go to A+ Content Manager: brand story, basic A+ content, and premium A+ content. So once you unlock the premium A+ content, what happens is your modules, they are a lot more interactive now. On premium A+ content, it's a given feature. We can add hotspots, and the modules, they're a lot wider. So, on the desktop, it's a great experience. And Amazon gives us like special modules with different dimensions for mobile. So your A+ content would look so much better on mobile because it's now designed for mobile. And the number of modules that you can have is also more. By more modules, what happens, each module have alt keywords. So you can add some description and keywords to each image, which means better indexing. Overall, you're gonna see more traffic, more conversions. Your branding is gonna look a lot nicer. So I think the next step would be upgrade your regular A+ content to premium A+ content.
Okay. All right.
What else do you have for us?
And lastly, the storefront. I looked at the storefront. It's not optimized yet. So
I didn't even know I had a storefront.
That's a good start.
Right? So we're gonna
It's obvious.
So we're gonna have to make it look like very professional. Think of a storefront like your own website on Amazon. There's no distractions. There's no sponsored ads. You can showcase your brand, your products the way you want to. And if you drive traffic through sponsored ads directly to your storefront, where there's like no distractions, conversions are going to be a lot higher.
It makes sense. I mean, I'm not nearly as sophisticated as you, but I've been around a little bit and I know what's going on. I can see where there's gaps, things that are missing, obviously. And your enthusiasm and confidence helps me feel that way. I look forward to proving this out.
All right, now we talked a little bit earlier today about potential expansion to other marketplaces. Remember, Vincenzo was asking you, hey, are you even on TikTok Shop? And you had mentioned you just started. But first of all, why TikTok Shop have been on his mind?
People get on TikTok, they're encountering your video content usually through influencers. They're getting off TikTok, they want to understand more about your brand. So what do? They get on their Amazon app, they type in InMotion Hemp Cream, and then your listing comes up. And the beautiful thing is, this is measurable. You can measure the change in what is searched under branded versus non-branded. And so you take a look at what's branded and you measure the lift. You can also look at Am I getting more new to brand customers coming in? And this is in addition to hopefully the sales increase you're going to feel, so you can actually start measuring the effectiveness of it. TikTok is great because you know, right now you have about 175 million households that are being effective, with the 50% of the average age being over the age of 30. People think it's Gen Z and Generation Alpha. But it's not. Everyone is on there, and they're spending an average of 90 minutes of their day engaged on TikTok. So why not engage with them then where they are? Go meet the customer where they are. You know, it's the best upper funnel tool to create just brand awareness.
If I were to ask you in 60 seconds or less, what would be the plan of how he starts scaling on TikTok Shop? What would that be?
Very simple. A, engage with influencers to create content. When some of those pieces of content are going viral, gaining traction, you do what they call whitelisting it. You take out ads behind it, increases the frequency of displaying it as an ad, but it's the person's content, and it looks like it's coming from them. And then that's when you start to see it take a life of its own. In a week or two, start measuring the impact it's having on your overall business on Amazon or Walmart or eBay.
By the way, everything he just mentioned, reaching out to influencers, connecting them to make videos for your content, and then running ads on that. You can do all of that with Helium 10, which you already have, so you're set.
Great.
So at the outset, you know, you had talked about, hey, you're open to making a new brand with a non-hemp product that might be easier for you to get on some of these other platforms and stuff. But then even on the hemp side, you even had a product idea, was the hemp menstrual pain cream, right?
Yep, correct.
Jason, did you look into that? Do you think you should do a hemp menstrual pain cream?
I 100% do. When I was looking through Product Opportunity Explorer, there was very low competition on hemp menstrual pain cream. There was only one other brand I could find. And the overall market for that without hemp is pretty big, which tells me it gives a product differentiation.
Vincenzo, what product did you find?
So I focus on the heel crack roll-on product. I remember, you know, doing my research in Helium 10 and then the Product Opportunity Explorer, and I didn't even know there was a product for this. And the reason why it was also a very interesting product is when I started doing the research, I see that a lot of the competitors on the niche are doing a cream format. They're not really doing the run-on product format. And that immediately gave me the insight, this potentially could be a new product altogether, because coming from an original brand where we have also a roll-on version for the hemp, why not potentially focus on this new heel crack kind of niche where there's a lack of roll-on kind of configuration. By going deep into the numbers, there's a clear demand for the product. When it comes to reviews, yes, there's people already with a lot of reviews, especially on the cream format. Itself shows promising kind of opportunities in terms of launching a whole new brand that has nothing to do with hemp. And at the same time, you know, when it comes to the heel kind of cracks, there is other things that you can do around that kind of.
So you're saying, I mean, because it's the foot is a unique part of your body. So there's a lot of other things going.
We can launch a whole family that can, at the end of the day, can upsell each other. And we can do what is, at the end of the day, the easiest way to scale a brand, which is, you know, increase the lifetime value and how much money you make out of every single client.
Roll-on is our star product now, so I'm sure that won't be a problem. So in thinking about my time here today, the one feeling I have is I'm just so appreciative. I've got partners, they're silent partners. I'm the one responsible for everything. And I've gotten some support. Helium 10's been there, questions I have, and I can even just talk to somebody about what's going on and celebrate. I mean, when the sales jump, I want to tell these guys thank you.
So David, you excited about the 2 new products you're gonna launch?
Yes.
Next part, a lot of work. Maybe you're not so excited about the work. I think you're gonna be excited about the results, which again, the goal here is to minimum 2x your sales to bring you to $250,000 annually. Because we know this costs a lot of money, it's gonna be a big endeavor for you to do a lot of this stuff, especially starting a new brand. I have a surprise for you. We are going to give you $5,000 in order to go ahead and help start your new brand, to give you a little jump start on that. How's that sound for you?
That sounds good. Who signed that? I mean, is this really gonna work?
You can take that to the bank just as is. It's a valid signature right there. Just endorse it in big letters on the back. You're good to go.
I can do it digitally probably, right?
Yeah. Use your mobile app to do it. So $5,000. You excited?
That is a surprise. I did not know that was going to happen. That's
All
great.
right. Well, you deserve it. You know,
you
we
so
really
much.
want you to have success. We want to give you a little jump start for that.
Oh, that will help. Thank you.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe to see more videos like this. And check out Helium 10, the ultimate solution for Amazon sellers.